Hello, hello. So I was illustrating this. I started illustrating this today, and I'm pretty much done, although I'm going to move a few things around. And a little crazy thing happened. I was in the middle of drawing the leaf, and I drew it all, and I finished it, and then my computer died because I didn't have it plugged in. And of course, the last time I saved it was just as I was starting to draw the leaf. So I finished pretty much drawing it. I'm just going to kind of add a couple details in here, and that's what I'm going to do. So if you'd like to join me, please do. If you want to say something in the comments, hi Maria, and if anybody wants to go live, feel free. I'm totally up to that. It'd be nice to see someone's face, although all you're going to see is me drawing. It's up to you. Anyways, please say something in the comments, and I will talk back. So right now I'm just kind of adding a little bit of detail to, hi Lauren, I'm adding a little detail to this drawing, and that's about it. Nothing fancy, but this is just a little something to kind of brighten your day and get your mind off the rest of the world. So this is a recipe for strawberry balsamic ice cream, and it's one of the earlier recipes that I used to make way back when I lived in Echo Park and I first started making ice cream. I've adapted a little from the original recipe to make it my own, but otherwise it is pretty much something that is truly delicious and tasty. Yesterday I was illustrating red beans and rooibos tea ice cream. It's kind of a double ice cream, and I finally finished that. Hi Gigi. So I'm just kind of doing the last little details. I was in the middle of drawing this earlier today when my computer died, and then I had to do other stuff as well, and in the middle of it I lost some of what I was doing, which kind of sucked, but it's all good. In any case, say hello. I'll wave to everybody. There you go. But feel free to say hello. I can see your comments, but meanwhile I'm just gonna draw. So back when I lived in Echo Park, and actually I see someone in the comments that used to go to some of those parties. This was one of the flavors that I would make. It was before I really even started going too crazy with ice cream. It was like right when I first started just dabbling and enjoying making a few things here and there. People started to challenge my ice cream making, and it's a good one. And the story, I'm trying to remember, I'm not quite sure who I'm associating this with. I think I'm just randomly associating it with someone, but oh, I know who's getting this one. This one is going to my friend Kristen, who I met randomly when I was riding my bike and her tire went bad on her bike, and we had just finished a garage sale, and so she stopped me and she was like, "Excuse me, do you have a bike pump?" And I said, "I do, but I live around the corner and I have an air compressor." And so she followed me back home, and I couldn't get her tire fixed, but I gave her a ride home instead, and I wasn't some creepy person, thank God. And we ended up becoming friends, and then she came to one of our parties. She's an artist. She works over, well, she used to work at Nickelodeon. That's where I think where she was working at the time that I met her. And so she does like cartoon art. I'm not exactly sure exactly what element that she does, but because there's so many different elements to cartoons. but I am putting her in the next book. And it's a cute little story, as they all are. And then let's just fix those little elements here. So I hope everyone is doing well. I know it's a pretty crazy time out there with the uncertainty of the election, and anything can happen, although let's hope it goes in the best direction it can possibly for this country and for everything else. And let's just hope. So what I'm drawing today, it's strawberry balsamic ice cream. And in the original book, there is a strawberry balsamic sorbet, which was the first recipe I ever adapted. So basically, I adapted this recipe into a recipe for strawberry balsamic ice cream. There we go. Hello. And I started illustrating this one today, and I'm pretty much finished because it's a way easier recipe to illustrate. There's not that many moving parts. It's just mainly a few things that I had pretty much drawn before, so I was able to quickly bring it together. And I'll zoom out in a second. So basically, this is how you make it. So you start with 2 pounds, and then you wash it, and then you dry it, and then you destem it, and then you got a bowl full of strawberries, and then you take 4 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, a cup of sugar, and the 2 pounds of strawberries, and you put it in your blender, and you want to put that on high for about 10 seconds. And you're going to chill that overnight. And during that time, the sugar will dissolve into the strawberries and the balsamic. Actually, this needs to get fixed right here because it's going to be all cut up. So let's fix that element. So it's good to kind of go through the recipes so that they look the way they're supposed to. Josh, do you want to see your recipe illustrated? I finally finished the rooibos. I finished that. I'm saying it horribly, I'm sure. Rooibos. And red bean. Here, I'm going to show it to you. So Josh is watching right now. And let's see if I can find his recipe. I think I have it as Josh and Izzy. There you go. Well, that's the story, and it's red beans. Let's see, red beans and rooibos. Okay, so it's very pretty. Josh, here it is. Amy, I can totally do that for you. We can either meet up sometime. You guys can come over for ice cream, or I can mail it to you. And if you want to buy a book, you could visit the website and I can mail it. So this one is the red beans and rooibos, which I illustrated over the last couple days. And then this is the rooibos. Rooibos is red, it's red bush, and it's a South African herbal tea, but it's basically a red bush. And I can't say the word to save my life. And this is the ice cream for the red bean, and then you start to make the rooibos, and then you got the thing there, and so it's very pretty. But so that's that. I don't know if Josh is still here. If you are, Josh, say hello and tell me what you think of your ice cream. And meanwhile, I'm going to start working on fixing this little element right here. Oh, is a Gilmore fan and cooking. That's awesome. Well, there's definitely some Gilmore inspired recipes in the book. And oopsie, what am I doing right now? I'm not paying attention, that is for sure. So this is the recipe. Do you have a place you can make a hand crank maker? I've been looking for one for years. Yes. White Mountain is the brand that I have, and I love it. Now, they sell it. It's kind of expensive, but I highly suggest getting, if you're gonna get it, my suggestion is get a hand crank and then get the electric motor too. You can, I mean, you don't need it. It's certainly, you can do it just by itself, but the hand crank also not comes with, but you can buy a separate motor for it. And it's kind of awesome because it fits the machine and you don't have to buy another machine. And then if you have any problems or if the kids just don't want to crank anymore, all you got to do is put that motor on and it's pretty awesome. So let's fix this little guy. And I'm going to put a little bit more detail in this. Let's just put slight more detail in there. Oops, don't like it, it's too big. Hey Dana, how you doing? And Rebecca. Okay, let's make this just slightly lighter. That is not doing what I want it to do. There we go. There we are, and then I'm gonna meld that down. Okay. So, if you'd like to say hello in the comments, please do, and I'll tell you a story or answer a question. Okay, so that is that little bit of, and once you mix it with the cream, it sort of goes into that color. And I think I'm just going to maneuver some of these icons and move them in a little bit. I kind of am always tweaking things. Let me layer this all down. Okay. Yes, okay. Hello, Casey. So, I hope everyone is well and doing relatively well, considering the fact that we don't know what the hell's going on and anything can happen at any moment. Hello, Kevin. Okay, so we've got that. And then we're going to take this guy, move that over just a little bit. Actually, I want to bring this one down just a tiny bit because I think it just looks too much like it's just some random thing. And then we're going to bring this over. Hello, everyone. feel free to talk in the comments and say hello. So that. So I want to do like arrows. I think that's what it needs. Oops, I'm in the wrong brush. Happens all the time. Okay. And then we go. And then oops, don't want to move that. I only want to move that. Okay. Then we've got the middle, looks pretty good. I'm going to move this over just slightly. And this over as well. I'm going to just check one little tiny detail that looks good. So this pretty much is done. I was adding a little bit of detail, white detail, when I discovered I needed to fix something. And so we've got this. And this is the last little bit. And then one more last strawberry to do. So this was actually pretty fast ice cream to illustrate. Some of them take longer because there's a lot of details or they're harder to fit on the page. But this one was relatively simple and kind of didn't hurt that in the first book. That I have. I already had drawn the strawberries and the balsamic vinegar, and so the only thing I really did was it kind of adjusted that. So what do you guys think? Let me know if you think it's good or if it's missing anything. I feel like it looks pretty good. So I think I'm going to save that. And going to save that. And then I'll take you on a little tour of this recipe, which is what I just did the other night. I drew my little, this is a new little icon that I drew, my little Instant Pot. And you can use a pressure cooker or cook beans however you cook beans, but that's the easier way to do it. And we got a little teacup, which is really cute. And just fun little elements. It's a little bit more complicated because you're making 2 ice creams. You're making beans, and then you're making an ice cream, and then you're making a custard, and then you're making an ice cream. But then you have ones that are simple, and it's literally just taking some strawberries, washing them, adding some balsamic and some sugar and some strawberries to it, and then adding some cream, and you're done. So not all of them are that difficult. Anyways, let's see. I should try to draw something else while I've got the time. What I can do is show you the story behind the recipe that I just drew. And this one goes to my friends Kristen. And let's see, there it is. And I'll read you the story. So, we were getting rid of some dust collectors. Let's see, we were getting rid of some dust collectors. Our yard sale had just ended when I grabbed my bike to collect the signs. As I rode, another cyclist called out, "Excuse me, do you have a bike pump? My tire is flat." And that is the moment I met animator Kristen Donner. When we got to my house, I tried to fix the flat and failed. So I gave her some ice cream and a ride home, and we vowed to keep in touch. At the next party, we met her boyfriend Kyle, who is also an animator. The next party we met her boyfriend Kyle, who is also an animator. Colin gave them a tour of our house. And there's our house. Then Colin gave him a radio that was just collecting dust. Plain floors, yes. Those are the desert rose. The teacup that I drew is actually not the desert rose. It's a different one. It's very hard to see this because I don't have a flashlight on, but it's a teacup that came from my grandparents' house. There is a rose on it. But what is it? R&J. It says something. Louis C's Beretta? Something like that. But it's very cute. It was in my grandmother's house, and it's just like a child's teacup. And I've always thought it was adorable. So that's the story that goes with the strawberry balsamic ice cream. And in here, what's kind of fun is in the things. If you've ever been to our house, Colin collects old microphones and radios and sound equipment. And so these are all these old microphones that are in the front window. And then that's Noelle, who's hanging out. That's our pomegranate tree and our camellia bush and our rosemary. And I just had fun with this one. It's our little bicycle. And it's just sweet. And then this is one of the radios. I don't know what radio we actually gave her, but that is, it's a really cute little teacup. My grandmother collected a lot of stuff. And she was just a very interesting personality. She loved collecting. She sold stuff at the flea markets. There's a big flea market in LA called the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, and she would go there. They would go all over every weekend. They would sell stuff. And so she had a lot of things, but she also had stuff from her childhood. And so I think it was something from her childhood, but I'm not sure. And there was also a set of teacups, children's teacups that were like, there was a little cat in them, and it was the cutest thing, and I really, 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 really wanted it, but I didn't get it. I missed that opportunity. And but there's things that you cherish when you go to your grandparents' house, and you're like, it might not be worth anything. Like it's just something that reminds you of that time period, and that cup is sort of, for me, like one of those pieces. But my grandmommy's going to be in the next book. Let's see if I can find her story. It's kind of a silly story, but let's see. It is in here. Grandmommy. It's a silly, silly story, but I'll read it to you. I don't know what ice cream's going with it. I think it's going to have to be something that's black and white. But Grandmommy's house was filled with interesting things. While on a visit, I said, "Look at the legs of that table." Granddaddy said, "That's not a table. That's a piano." Sure enough, he opened it to reveal a beautiful but battered antique piano. I vowed that day to restore it. And when I finally had the money, I told Grandmommy, "I want to fix your piano so I can play it and think of you always." She said, "As far as I'm concerned, you can have it for free." When the piano turned 200 years old, we threw it a party, tickled the ivories, and ate lots of ice cream. And so this is actually my grandmommy's piano. And it was really messed up. There was one of these, there's like a little lattice work that's right there, and someone had smashed it in, and a few of the ivory keys were popped off, and the keyboard itself only had 68 keys on it, so it was a really tiny, tiny keyboard. And it's called a square grand, and it's got a lot of history to it. When I restored it, the piano tuner who did all the restoration work on it, this guy named Gene, he's a little Russian guy from Russia, and he told me that the piano was originally made in Boston, which there's a little placard that says it, by this guy named A. Babcock for J.D. McKay, who J.D. McKay was a ship captain or a sea captain or something like that in Boston. And maybe he was like in the importing business or something. I don't know. But A. Babcock later invented the metal soundboard for pianos. But this piano is a piano from 1806, so it actually isn't, it's pre-metal soundboard. And I'm going to do this. I'm going to switch the video, see if I can switch it, because I'm done. Hello. It don't look that great, but whatever. I'm going to show you the piano. I'm going to have to turn some lights on, but I'll show it to you. And it's not doing, it's very dark in this room. But I'll show you this piano. And it's filled with a lot of crap on it. Sorry about that. But here you go. So this is the piano. And there's Molly. And I'll play for you a few keys. And that's the soundboard. The soundboard's wooden, and it's got iron strings. And some of the keys don't play. I think it's this one has a problem. And from time to time, I will open this whole thing up. My piano tuner taught me how to do it. And I will... See, that one's a little out of tune. But that's the little placard that says, let's see. Sorry, it's not really coming in focus. But it says, made by A. Babcock for J.D. McKay in Boston. And inside, I can't open it right now because there's too much crap on it. But there's a little number, and it says 78. There's Molly. Molly, say hi. She's not very interested in saying hi right now. But so it has the number 78 on it, and so this was my grandmommy's piano, and it was pretty cool. So that is the story behind the piano, and it will be in the next book. It's actually going to be in the next book a couple times, which is going to be kind of fun. And that's about it. I know it's getting a little creepy in here because I'm shutting lights off. But anyways, thank you guys for joining me tonight. And I know a lot of you guys have the book, but if you don't have the book, or if you want to get a book, I still have more to sell. I have about 190 of them left. And I'm not going to be able to print the next book until these ones go. So please think of it as a great Christmas present or a birthday present or whatever random holiday comes up between now and then. And that's about it. So I'll try to draw as much as I can. I'm going to be working on Friday, so I probably won't be able to draw anything on Friday. And I'm working Monday, so I might not be able to do anything Monday. And I'm working the following week, so I'm working Monday, and then I'm working Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So I might squeeze some drawings in here and there, but otherwise I'll squeeze it in when I can. So thanks for joining me, guys, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.